What is up, YouTube? This your boy CJ. I've got a 2007 BMW 335i hardtop convertible. I'm having some trouble with my shifter, Steptronic. So I'm going to be taking you guys on an in-depth video of how to fix that with some wiring problems.
I've been having some problems
let's get
with
started.
my shifter going into sport mode. Goes into sport mode fine, just can't downshift. So I've been having to defer to my paddle shifters here just to downshift. I don't normally drive with the paddle shifters. I like to keep it all right here, and then just been putting it off. So today I'm going to give you guys an in-depth look of how to fix the wiring problems that we've got going on in here. All right, so let me show you guys the problem. Go ahead and start it up. Alright, so put it in drive, fine there, slap it over into sport mode, we're good. Usually you should be able to downshift and go straight into manual 1, but as you can see I'm pushing it up and it's not going down into manual 1. Let me show you. I can upshift and we'll go to manual 2, continue manual 3, manual 4. We're even having problems there. So I'll show you. This is what I've been having to defer to, just go upshift with my paddle. So it's going to give you guys an in-depth look of just taking this whole center console off and redoing the wiring right here. So first I'm just going to start off and be cautious with all of this and put this block down in front of one of my wheels just to be safe. Kind of on a little slanted hill, so just don't want anything crazy to happen. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car off. Alright, so first thing you're gonna do is gonna squeeze in on the button and pull up. And if this is your first time doing it, it's probably gonna be really hard. Just give it a big tug and it'll eventually come up. So once you got that off, you're gonna start up here at the top. You can lift this up if it's in your way. And we're gonna slowly start from here and move and work our way down just to get this whole middle console off. And be careful because you got connectors to each one of these, so be sure not to pull it, yank up on it, and you don't want to break any wiring that's connected. Okay, so first, I'm gonna pull off this top wire. Just wiggle it on out. Next, you've got one that goes to the menu button right here. Wiggle it on out. So once you get those first two removed, you're gonna want to take this red one on the right out and this blue connector on the left out. So I'm gonna set the camera down and grab those two. Alright, so now that I got that red one out and that blue one out, the final one that's holding this whole center console in is for the cigarette lighter right there, which would be right there. So we're going right there. So instead of pulling it from the cigarette lighter, you just want to go down here and release this tab right here, and you can just take the whole center console off. So I'm going to do that one really quick. That one, I just squeezed the tabs on both ends and it came right out, and that is what frees up your center console. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side. Now you have access to your shifter. So our main problem lies in this wiring harness right here. You can see that this red wire is attached to. Our broken wires that I'm assuming are in here. So we're gonna need to take out these 3 torque screws, one right here, one right there, focus the camera, and one right there, and they're gonna be T30s. So we're gonna take those out just so we can lift up on the whole shifter mechanism and take off this
this cover right here, which is holding in our wires and pinching our wires.
So we're gonna begin with, like I said, the T30 for these torque screws, and there's gonna be 3 of them that we need to knock out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So once you have those 3 torque screws out, you should be able to wiggle the whole shifter mechanism out. It's got this rubber molding around the outside, so just be careful about not tearing that from the mechanism itself. Alright, so now that we got the mechanism on its side, we can have full access to these 3 little smaller torque screws on the side, so we can remove this cover and get down to those broken wires. And I believe these torque screws are going to be T10s. So like I said, they're going to be T10s, and we're going to go ahead and remove those now. So now that we got these 3 smaller torque screws out, we can now have access to under this cover. So before we pop this cover off, you're gonna want to take this blue tab out, and disconnect these wires. So now that you have this one off, you can fold this back and pop this cover off, and just set it to the side like that. And now you can see the problem actually without even going any deeper. You can see my purple wire right here is snapped, and that's all I know. That's the only one that I know is snapped so far. It's maybe more. So we're gonna take this tool right here. We're gonna be careful of these black and white wires that are right here. Don't want to mess those up. You're gonna want to put it in between these two just to give it enough leverage to pop this whole wire out. So we're gonna bend that back and pull our wiring harness out. So now that we have the wiring harness free from the cover, you can clearly see the wire is snapped right here. So we're gonna remove this tape. Don't really have to go all the way up, just probably about halfway, just so we can see the other end of this purple wire that's coming from this way. Alright, so now that I removed that tape, I'm just going to go ahead and check all the other wires just to make sure while we're under here, so we don't have to be doing this process all over again. Removed it just enough so we can see the other end of the purple wire that's obviously broken right here. All the other wires seem to be okay, so not really worried about those there. Just going to get to work on this purple wire right here. Alright, so I got these 2 purple wires here. We're going to take some wire strippers and take off just probably about 1 centimeter from each purple wire. So we're going to go ahead and do that now.
Just be careful not to break the actual wire, because you see we're not dealing with much wire already and you don't want to short yourself.
Alright, so now that I got the ends off of the wires with the wire stripper, we're going to take these 2, put them together, twist them up. We're going to tie them off with some electrical tape around it, and then we'll take some more electrical tape to all of the wires so it'll be back like it was before. So let's go.
Alright, so now that we got this all taped back together, we're gonna proceed and put this cover back on, but this time we're not gonna put the wires back in so they won't get pinched all over again. We're gonna keep it out, keep it free, and just put the cover on without the wires. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so like I said, we're gonna put this cover back on. You're gonna go ahead and line it back up with the 3 torque screw holes without putting the wiring back in this time. You're gonna reconnect this blue tab and slide it back into that slot, and then go ahead and put those 3 torque screws back in. Alright, so now that we got those 3 torque screws back in, we're gonna proceed and try to put this thing back in. And then once you got it back in, you can go ahead and put those 3 torque screws back in to tie it down. Alright, so now that we've got these 3 torque screws back in, we can begin the process of putting everything back together just like the way we took it out. So first you're gonna start with the center console, hooking up that cigarette lighter wire to this tab right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that first. Set the camera down. Alright, so now that we got that cigarette lighter wire plugged back in, we're then gonna go and reattach this blue tab to there and this red tab back to that white tab right there. And then we should be able to slide the whole console back over the shifter itself. Alright, so now that we've got those cords back in place, I went ahead and plugged these 2 back up near the top for the convertible and the menu button. So that'll be one right there and then one on the side, and then after that you should be able to just pop it back in place how we did it, and it should snap in at each point going all along the sides. Alright, got that back in smoothly, snapped it down on each side, fit it back right, and then you can go ahead and put your shifter back on. Alright, now that we got the shifter back on top, everything back together, we're going to go ahead and start her up and see if everything worked out fine. Down and drive, slap it over to sport mode. And it looks like we're working. No problems. Alright, everything seems to be working well. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel. I got more videos on the way. And see you guys next time.